they've been getting into watches too. And how to build the perfect watch collection, right? Like, you know, it starts with like the budget. First off, you got to find out what fits in the budget. When you know what's not going to make the wife too upset if you go out, and also you got to maybe stage these, plan these out, not get everything all at once. But let's ask Teddy.
Is build parameters and kind of restrictions around a collection, because I know when it comes to people out there, there's different philosophies, and ultimately when it comes to budget, there's just limitations that come with watch collecting. So with this video, what I want to do is look at how could you build a watch collection with just trying to pick out 3 great watches that cover pretty much every scenario. And now there are
right, and so for example, you got, you know, your everyday guy, got your fancier watch, then maybe you got your interesting complication.
a variety of ways to think about 3 watches that cover every scenario, but for myself, this is what I would consider it. So we're gonna have a dress category, something a little bit more office oriented, or for those scenarios when you have to wear something a bit more formal. Then you have your sports category, which is going to be some type of complication, or is going to be something of a diver that is going to allow you to have maximum versatility in more sporty types of environments where you really need to push your watch to the limit. And then to have another additional add-on to that, I have a beater in some instances, because we're looking at 6 different price ranges. Calling some of these a beater is probably a stretch, but just a watch that's going to be a smaller percentage of our total budget, but it is going to be able to pretty much take a beating no matter what you throw in its direction. So for our price categories here, we have 6 different ones we're going to look at, and just remember that this is the total amount for all the watches and their prices combined. We're looking at retail prices here, nothing that's discontinued, so new watches, and then also having that be the total. So when I say the first one, think about adding all the prices together to equal that total amount. So not to be confused with each watch is worth this amount of money. So first we have under $1,000, then we have $2,500 as our second category, move up to $5,000. Then we have $10,000. Then we have our $25,000 range. And then to round it out, we have our unlimited budget stretch where money
under
is
1G.
no issue whatsoever.
Let's start there.
So 2022 has been an amazing.
Anytime someone talks watches, all I can picture is that business card scene from American Psycho. Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man. And when they're comparing the cards.
Amazing year for watch releases. 2 of my favorites this year that I also want to highlight, available on TeddyBaldassar.com. One price category here, we have under $1,000.
By the way, TeddyBaldassar.com. Go to all brands, shop all brands. No, let's just go to all watches. And let's go under 100. Yeah, there we go, under 250. While we listen to Teddy.
Video looking at how to build
fudge.
Dollars. I know you could probably go even cheaper on watches here, and I would definitely say that there's
Timex, G-Shocks
to do so, but I wanted to start out here because I think this still gives us a nice budget, and we're talking about 3 watches, and they all have to total be under $1,000. Right. For our first one, for the dress category, I want to look at the Orient Bambino at 38 millimeters. So this is a
I skipped major stuff.
Size. These watches are simply fantastic. To get the Hamilton dollars, then we have $2,500 as our second category. Move up to $5,000.
And you're saying I quit wearing watch about the time I started carrying a cell phone. So that's the thing. Watch sales gone down. I was watching a video saying that digital watch sales, Apple watches, account for the most, maybe the most sales of watches right now, and they tend to compete with the introductory market, those fossil watch areas, you know, that $100 to $300 price range. A lot of them are competing. The regular, you know, quartz watches are competing with these digital watches. I don't have a digital watch that connects to my phone with the app, but I have heard from my friend that, you know, he wants to, it's become too connected. He's become too connected to his phone, and he actually wants to switch back, but he thinks he's going to have a hard time switching back from his digital watch to a regular timepiece.
Then we have $10,000. Then we have our $25,000 range, and then to round it out,
I mean, who has freaking 25 to drop on a watch unless you're Mr. Wonderful or something like that? Jesus.
We have our unlimited budget stretch where money is no issue whatsoever. So 2022 has been an amazing year for watch releases.
One can dream, right?
2 of my favorites this year that I also want to highlight, available on TeddyBaldassar.com. One being the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical in
Archduke recommends that go cheap on watches. Go to a third world country and just purchase a fake Rolex there. You're better off. If it's mechanical and has a good movement, and maybe they copied off like the Grand Seiko move or the Seiko movement, that'd be interesting. It depends what movement's inside that fake Rolex, right?
In titanium. These watches are simply fantastic. To get the Hamilton DNA in a field watch,
Hamilton just went up like in price of $100 this or 15 days ago. Don't ask me why, but they all went up $100.
A titanium case. It's lightweight, so you get that, I would say, just the effortless feel that you want from a field watch. But also from there, sapphire crystal. This one also has 100 meters of water resistance, which is a nice step up from the mechanical models in that entry-level format. When you're talking about only 50 meters, you have to go for the auto for 100.
Whoa, Nightbot.
100 meters, and you get a few different dial colors to choose in that 38 millimeter size, which would be the one that I would personally go for. You have black.
38 millimeters probably fits his wrist the best, but you know, it depends what your wrist size is, right?
You have green, which is very different compared to the traditional format. And then you also have the concrete version with the black PVD case. Another model I also mentioned is going to be the Tissot 1938 telemeter. This is a watch.
Look at this, guys. I love this one. This one is like, oh, this is like Homer Simpson drool. Oh my gosh, I want this. This is one I would love to add to my collection, but it's not inside the budget anytime soon.
Watch that looks back to the 1930s archive of Tissot and infuses a value movement on the inside and coming in a price range under $2,000 for a Swiss-made chronograph. One of the most attainable options you're going to find. Also, if you like just 1930s telemeter style, and telemeters are pretty cool, complicated.
So that's the white face. That was the other one was the black face telemeter. They both look really good. I've seen Neo Tokyo saying the only time I ever rocked a watch was back in high school. Had a pocket watch on my chain wall. Dude, some gnarly pocket watches out there that I saw one earlier. I was like, oof, pretty gnarly. But I couldn't imagine a situation where I'm like, you know, I got my vest on, unless it's like my wedding, and boom, pull out the pocket watch, or you know, you're down playing Monopoly or something.
In terms of timing different events, something to both be seen and heard. An example is lightning. So once you would see the lightning, you get the chronograph.
The thing about watches now is they're different. What this watch is different. It's more of, I feel like it's more of a statement of, it's a tool. So this is a tool, and it's crazy how connected to we are to our phones sometimes. And for me, it helps me disconnect from my phone, so I'm not so reliant on my phone. Everybody is like, yeah, I got a phone, I got a watch on my phone, I got to watch my phone. Yeah, we sure do have watches on our phone, right? But when I look at that watch on my phone, you know, maybe I'm more inclined to open up the phone, go check out Twitter, go check out Reddit, go searching for something that I don't necessarily need. Versus when I look at my watch, I get everything I need. Oh, it tells me the date. Oh, it's the 15th. Boom. Oh, it's 7:53. Oh, it's 7:33. Good to go. Boom. And I don't need to deal with the threat of text messages and WhatsApp and social media. I think that there's a benefit in that with watches. It's almost like camping. So what I like about camping is at a certain point in camping, you gotta turn off your phone. Like it's just like it either dies or you want to turn it, you want to save that battery for emergency. So you do turn it off and you put it away. And to me, a watch is kind of like camping. In fact, you need a watch for camping. I would not recommend going camping without a watch at all. You know, something like this, right? So it's got like its own it's got its own compass. In fact, you could program it, press a button, and we'll be in the middle of the woods, and I'll be like, got my watch up. Where are we? Oh, shit. Don't even have to, boom. Don't even have to worry about the phone. 10 years of life, battery life on that, good to go. So, I mean, that's what I see in the usefulness of this tool, this watch. In addition to, you know, rocking nice little bracelet. I want a James Bond-esque diver watch, but like that's way on down the line. But this, I felt like kind of gave me that 60s or 70s style bracelet that you see in some of those older films, the Sean Connerys. And it appealed to me, I must say. And I was getting into watches, and I pulled the trigger, and the white Mrs. Spitfire was not too pleased that I did it without, you know, consulting her, as she the various circumstances, but boom, it happened, and we're living in a new world here. So I have my own little watch collection. Thankfully, my own 3 watch collection. What is yours? This gets me through everything. Every day, fancy, and just like running out to the dog park or something.
And then once you hear the thunder, that would tell you how.
Oh, man, that chronometer is just so gorgeous. Look at that.
Far away that specific strike of lightning was. 2 different dial colors to choose from. You have the more blackish green hued dial that is very classic 1930s telemeter. And
that looks beautiful. That'd be the one I think I would want. But I love
you have
the blue
the white silver dial.
I love the blue ticky things. See, I'm not the best technical. I'm not the most technical watch expert. I can say I have a watch with a compass. I can navigate without a compass because I know where the sun rises and sets. Never eat sour wheat, right? Never north, eat east, south is never eat sour, south, wheat, west. That's right? I have a watch with a compass, says Archduke. I can navigate without a compass because I know where the sunrise and where certain stars are. That also helps, right? Like at nighttime, how are you going to tell without the sun? In the morning, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. In the afternoon, it sets in the west. And in the evening, what are you going to do with the stars? You got to find that North Star. You got to know which one is the North Star. And Angus saying, even though I never wear it, of course I never wear it, but they do have those Casios and those G-Shocks that you just press a button and it glows. And also these have lume. I think that like if they shine a little light on it, and they'll have like 8-hour lume, so like I'll be in the dark and I can tell what time it is essentially.
With something that's a little bit more contemporary in its approach and not so vintage in its aesthetic. Check them out both on TeddyBaldassar.com. So for our first price category here, we have under $1,000. I know you could probably go even cheaper on watches here, and I would definitely say that there's some great options to do so.
You could even go more expensive, but let's start there.
But I wanted to start out here because I think this still...
But the other thing is I want a mechanical, right? So this is on quartz. And quartz, it just keeps running on its own. But a mechanical, you have to wind, or you have to have a self-winding mechanism that maybe if you haven't worn in a while, you'll have to rewind yourself. Or you could get like a box that just twists and turns. There's all sorts of stuff with watches. It's so freaking cool. I know there's people that are into like, knives and getting cool knives. There's people that are getting cool glasses and sunglasses. All kinds of little hobbies. But I'm liking this watch one.
Gives us a nice budget, and we're talking about 3 watches, and they all have to total be under $1,000. For our first one, for the
some people like tattoos, collecting tattoos.
Dress category, I want to look at the Orient Bambino at 38 millimeters. So this is a new release for 2022.
That kind of looks like this, so that fulfills my need. I'm ready. Boom. And I got a black band that I could swap it into. I have the tool.
Long awaited, the Bambino has been on the market for 10 years. To finally see this watch now and available in this size is great, but long overdue to say the least.
$250 for that. That's about this as well, between $250, $300, depending, sales for this nice fancy looking Tissot. There's a fancier upgrade that like the it's like something 80, but it's a mechanical, but that's about $600 if you want to go that route.
38 millimeters in terms of its diameter, thickness of 12.4 millimeters, and a compact lug to lug of 44 millimeters, making it wear very true to that 38 millimeter size.
There's also a gold version of it, like a gold plated.
F6724 movement on the inside with great ranges of deviation in terms of every single one I've tested. These are running really solid out of the box compared to some entry-level Seikos and other Citizen watches out there using those Miyota 8 series movements. These watches are more expensive than previous iterations, and if you have not...
Look at that nice like pearl inlay of that face. That just looks real nice.
...seen what has happened with Orient prices, And
I like the sharpness.
Be aware that the prices have gone up about 20% across the board, at least in the United States. So this is something that they're doing. I think parts have become a bit more expensive with what's going on in the world. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But even for around $250, it's a very hard to beat proposition.
And you're saying I would not pay that much for a watch. I'm a bit rough on them. So yeah, maybe like G-Shock Timexes are American made. That's something that I love about the Timex. And like you could find one for 20, 30, $10 at the old Walmart or on the old Amazon.
For
or a good Casio for the same amount of money, 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks. There's Casios out there that are a little bit more expensive though, that'll update every night and have automatic perfect time. They sync with the world, they send like a radio signal out and they sync up to world time perfectly. It's like, that's kind of cool.
dress watch.
And then you could use that to set your other watches, say your mechanical watch, say you wake up, you want to put your mechanical watch, you got your nice little G-Shock that gets updates every night. Boom, check it, set your watch, boom, you're ready for the day.
Now for our sports
That's what some watch people do.
category, this is where I want to stretch a little bit more. And I think for where this watch falls, it is absolutely phenomenal. And this is the new lineup of watches from Seiko with the SSK 001, 003, and 005.
Do you like that orange, that blue, or that black? The orange has like a slightly copperish, goldish bezel, the lettering on the bezel. Meanwhile, like maybe steel on the other bezels, blue bezel, black bezel.
Also known as the Seiko 5 GMTs. These are simply...
I mean, it's hard to justify paying some of these prices when they see these people saying $2,000 for what looks like a beautiful watch. I'm like, it looks gorgeous, but $2,000. Like, man, like, couldn't you buy a part of a house with that?
amazing. I think these watches, in terms of when they were released, it's just one of those things where you know when someone strikes gold. Seiko struck gold with these watches. The fact that they were able to roll out this new movement with these watches, it almost just...
And watch guys are all about movements and different movements and various and like unique movements that just... How like you could have 4 gears that go into 1 gear just to move the ticker time all the ways, the right ways.
Flip the scale on what an affordable GMT can now be because of this.
But that's actually that stuff, all that innards, that's what sets Rolex apart from everybody. So all watches might have some errors in their creation. A lot of watches, those mechanical watches, are handmade. That's why they are so expensive. But sometimes, you know, there'll be errors in the process. But what set Rolex apart way in the past was that they were so good at making these tools before cell phones that they became the gold standard. And that's where they were able to charge so much money, and they became literally the best for what they were. And eventually they became like a luxury item. But at first they were literally the best watch and tool, timekeeping tool for any purpose, you know, whether it was racing, you know, races, you know, sports races, or making things, factory work, what have you.
It's great to see some new availability for GMT watches under $1,000. Typically, when you're looking at GMTs in this price range, you're looking at for somebody that's doing something with quartz, or you have to spend much more.
All right, Teddy, hit us with the damage. What's the damage on this one?
More to get into some of those entry-level GMT alternatives from Sellita with some of their offerings, as well as ETA, which is going to come way above $1,000 in many instances. 42.5 millimeter case.
$475. I'll wait for a sale.
Pretty conventional Seiko 5 Sports case, 13.
And the crystal's mineral. It's not even sapphire.
0.6 millimeters.
I would not pay that. You know, you want to get sapphire. You want to get sapphire crystal.
Thickness, which is pretty good, consider the water resistance of 100 meters and getting a GMT.
By the way, you don't need water resistance more than 100 meters. Nobody's really going down 200 meters or anything past. Like, they have more, but like, that's farther than most people dive on any average dive at all.
On the inside. And then on top, you have a mineral crystal with a variety of dial colors and bezel options to choose from. And then to round it off with our beater watch, we have the...
I guess saying I do like clocks though. Dude, I love a cool looking clock on the wall. Me too. I have one with phases of the moon, a weather one with every world time zone, and an analog one with chimes. Oh man. We used to have a old German style tall cabinet type clock. It was just gorgeous. We had 2 of them, and yeah, they tend to go off at the same time and just rock our house, and it was awesome. I loved it, and you know, that'd be funny. Maybe I think my grandma had a cuckoo clock at some point, but I think it drove everybody in the house a little crazy, so they did get rid of it, or they changed it, or it was old and from Germany, and it kind of maybe broke, or maybe one of the kids played with it because it was so cool. It was so cool, man. It was like there's birds, there was little Swiss children or something, little German children, or little lederhosen, and they'd come out, they on this, and yeah, maybe it was one of the older kids, probably playing with it a little too much, because that is not a toy. And how are you gonna send it back to Germany back in 1992?
Casio Duro. So the Casio Duro is a watch I've mentioned on this.
I don't like this Casio. I like Casios, but I do not like this. This just looks like a cheap looking watch for me. It's cool, but I don't like the bezel. The bezel is unappealing to me. These Seagos, they're okay. This is the most appealing watch of them all, this Orient. I like this one, but these other ones I'm not too keen on.
It does provide a bit more than what you
Let's see what else he's got.
The one that we're looking at here is the Kermit
Okay, the colors there look nice, but still not feeling them.
Styles that you have.
All right, let's go up one.
3. So if you're not familiar with this watch, don't be thinking that you're out of the loop, because this is not a watch that gets mentioned very often.
Looks pretty similar to the one he showed us earlier, right? This one, this Orient Bambino. What's the price, Teddy?
Very intriguing. 39.9 millimeter case.
What do you for $1,100? You get the power to twist your watch and to make it run. However, in the event of the power goes off, at least your watch is still running for 3 days or so. But for this watch, there's a nice little crystal battery in there that'll vibrate for up to 5 to 10 years. And that's about $200, $250. $1,000 to run your own watch, but that's actually pretty cool. Like it's both a selling point and also like a turning off point to some, because being able to turn and to wind your own watch and to power it, and you can see sometimes it has a power setting. It'll tell you how long it'll run for, some of these ones, but there's something really cool about that it's running off your power. There's no battery in there. Somebody constructed the mechanics of that watch perfectly for you to basically go in there, twist it a couple times, and plug the crown pin back in, twist it back in, and bam, you're powered up for the next few days. And make sure your watch is set correctly. But there's something really cool about that, I think.
Oh yeah, the lollipop secondhand.
I don't know what yet, but like maybe it's that camping feeling, with that unreliance on technology versus this different kind of technology, this older world tech.
And the pops of color, it's a little bit more playful in terms of its design style. You have the blunt style hands and just being a little bit more playful.
Now this Mido Ocean Star, this looks nice. That bracelet's okay. What do you guys think of the bracelet? Let me know in the comments, but that bezel, that face, Friday 20, the red and maybe that's an orange second hand. Oh, that looks good.
Overall, compared to some of the other offerings from the brand.
What's the damage on this?
And its total package is still incredibly well done. I think Mido makes a leading dive watch in this $1,000.
It's a great dive watch. I'm not in love with that, but maybe it's different, and I should have maybe get a little different bracelet, right?
$1 price range without question. So this is a little bit smaller as well, which makes this
$1,000. Holy fucking hey. Jiminy Jehoshaphat.
It's great for smaller wrists, looking into the direction of Mido. 40.5 millimeters in terms of the case size, thickness of 13.7.
Right. What's your next watch?
Adjustment case variant with the
little
resin
Cassie Oak
strap. Then you also have the metal
G-Shock too.
Bracelet versions as well, which have been incredibly well received to go along with these. This is going to save you quite a bit of money though in the process. You're talking about $200 here, which is great for our budget.
$200 Casio, and this will show time if you want it to. You could just click buttons, but it also shows it. So it's an analog and digital hybrid. Shows the days of the week here. I don't think this is I'm not in love with this Casio. But Angus and I also own an Ancestors pocket watch from circa 1850. Of course, it's just for show. I don't want to break it. Dude, that's so cool. That's like family heirloom stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely keep that safe. keep that secret. So I'll show you a couple of Casio G-Shocks that I'm interested in, maybe in the next year or two, add to the collection. Maybe never. Maybe we don't. Maybe I don't. Maybe something else eventually replaces these and catches the apple of my eye, so to speak, and I never end up pulling the trigger on these. But
my name is Josh, and
that's what I'm hoping.
This this turquoise G-Shock, man, it does water. It tells you the tide. It tells you the temperature. It tells you sunrise and sunset times for wherever the specific spot you've set it to be set for in the world. And it's a great water. It's a watch. It's a surf watch. It's a water watch. You wear it in the water. Water streams right out of it. It's meant to be worn in the water. To me, it's like a great little vacation watch, right? Boom. You wear that on vacation when you're going to someplace hot and warm where you're going to be swimming a lot, or for fishing trips. Boom. Right? I don't know. Just
the question is
I can see tons of uses for this nice thing. Instead of bringing your nice little metal watch on the fishing trip or going swimming in the ocean, you got this thing.
Do you want one of these? They're only $160,
and they're on sale for like $1.15 on Amazon. So they're actually way less. And I think their price is going down on them as time goes on, as they're going to be the older model. And they'll probably eventually get replaced by a newer model.
Only, which is interesting because G-Shocks have a wide,
and there's different colors, and like you see how small this is right here versus temperature. Actually, you press a button, boom, it gets bigger and it becomes even bigger. This is just like a certain face on there where it's showing you the tide and all that other stuff.
Wide range of prices. I mean, on the low end, you can get the 5600E for like $40 on Amazon. On the high end, you've got this titanium camo G, $1,600. Your metal G, this is the patina one. I think it was like $1,000.
It's $1,000 for a G-Shock.
So they
have 3,000 Mr. G-Shocks that are like, I'm like, what is so good about this watch that you spend $3,000? I don't know. I can understand maybe $100, $300, get something good and quality, but at a certain point, where is like the quality? It's like the quality graph doesn't meet up with the price ratio sometimes.
It's vary. And then you have some, so like this NASA one right here, because it's a collectible, it was only like $100, but they're trending for almost $400.
Oh shit!
Because people can't get a hold of them. So I think the carbon fiber is going to end up being that way too. Maybe the woody right back there. But anyway, this is the one we're looking at first and foremost.
Carbon fiber is available online right now. You can, but I think they've held their price. They're right around that $220 price of this. And what's cool about this is the one I was talking about. It's one of the ones I was talking about where in the middle of the night it gets an update from the radio frequency. Boom! Make sure to have the perfect time, and you could use that watch to set your other watches.
Maybe the woody right back there. But anyway, this is the one we're looking at first and foremost.
What's interesting about this watch as well, this one, it is also a half hybrid smartwatch if you want it to be. It has an app that connects to your phone. I don't necessarily think you want to do it, but maybe you want to do it once, just like maybe do something, like set it for something, and then maybe delete the app and turn it off. That's what I've heard, but maybe it's gotten better.
Foremost, this is from the Glide.
Notice those notches, by the way. This is a watch you wear in the water. Water comes right out of there, good to go.
So somebody help me out. You pronounce that G-Glide?
G-Glide.
Or Glide.
Or Glide.
I don't understand what it stands for.
Lido Deck.
But they have a bunch of different Glide watches. So if you
a whole bunch of different, oh, that's kind of cool. I like these teal colors. No, orange is kind of cool. That's kind of cool, like a tennis ball. I like that. Let's see what else. Oh, I like that black teal right there. It kind of reminds me of a Gusher. Oh, it's like a fruit snack.
You look at
interesting.
So you see how that says Glide on it? So they do make the GLX module that has the tide graph up at the top with the moon tracking and all of that. And so this Glide series is one that has been around for a while. But what they've done is they've taken it to a whole nother level in this GBX 100, specifically with that display. So that
see how big it gets. I was saying it gets bigger, and gets huge right there.
When we look at pros and cons, in my opinion, there's a lot of cons. However, the one pro is that display. And it is such a pro.
Oh, what's the cons?
That it like
I'm
just
curious.
towers over all of the other cons to where
Really? It towers over the other. So literally, it's the pros outweigh the cons, is what he says right there, up front.
I could easily justify getting one of these and putting it in my collection, despite all of the negative things that I'm going to end up saying about it. So let's talk a little bit about that display. They call it Memory in Pixel, and it's an LCD display. And in this case,
2-year battery.
it's a negative display, but it is so sharp.
Yeah, it's
and
big.
so clear.
Usually you don't like those negative displays, but that's nice.
That the legibility of this, you get it in full sun. That's not necessarily doing justice. In full sun, I can see this thing and read it without a problem. The numbers are bright enough, light enough. There's enough disparity or change between the black background and the white letters that I have no problem reading this in almost any light, in almost any angle. Let's see if we can get that. Look at that. Still read the time on that. And so this display is just unreal.
That white's
It's
nice.
absolutely amazing. Wait for them to
Oh,
put
I like that.
digital display in some of these. Oh, these metal ones.
But I only really need one.
Could you imagine coming to that first, maybe, in the titanium models? But when they put, and I say when because I think it's going to happen, they are going to put this display in a normal G square, like a 5600, 5610. I think it's coming. I think we just have to wait and see. I also suspect they might make different colorways. So if you look just at my watch box, look at all. I mean, Casio,
I think this guy's onto
especially in
something.
The G-Shock lineup is known for making a billion different colors and different variants of the exact same watch, right?
I got a lot of white.
Do think that if the popularity is there for these,
Blue, green.
that will continue. Right now, they have a black one, a white one, and a teal one. And this is the teal one. Now, I will say,
Like it was
everybody,
made for
I think,
me.
who has experienced this watch and taken pictures or video of it has said the same thing. It looks different in person than it does in the camera. Now, most people will say that it looks better in person than in the camera. I'm going to say that I'm indifferent, and maybe
Really?
that's just because I don't like the color of this one, neither in person nor on camera. This is is being loaned to me, right? So from a friend, so I've got to say thanks to them.
A little
But
thick.
this isn't my watch.
On
and
wrist?
If I were to get one, I would go black or white. Probably
What would you guys go? Black, white, or teal? I'm going teal myself.
white. And I would not get this teal variant. Now, that is completely personal preference. Though.
Yep.
If you like this, try to experience this in person. Unless $160 ain't a lot of money to you, right? Some folks, that's like, that's not money. I can chance it.
I think it's a lot of money
And
to
I
a
will
lot of
say,
people.
Too, I'm seeing folks in the watch groups I'm in flip these. I don't think they're having as good of an experience as they thought they might. And so I'm seeing guys turn these over. Now, here's one thing I'm not going to talk about. So if you are looking for the technical
Might find
specs
some used.
of this and to know how every function works on this watch, I would recommend going to another video. I'm not going to show you that. And in fact, that's a big con for me. I don't like all the functionality that this has. I don't use 90% of the functionality that these have, even their most basic modules. The only thing that I like, I want it to tell the time, and I want the auto light feature. That's it.
Done.
That's all I want. When I twist it, I want the auto light to come on. So this one, I think, has the auto light feature, maybe. It does have this big button right here at the front that you can click and it'll turn the light on. So let me just turn my studio lights off real quick.
Yeah, let's see how good this
so
does.
you can see it's daylight here. I've got all the curtains drawn, so I got as much light out as possible. But
not
you
that
still see
dark,
a little
but
bit. And you can see that I have no problem reading this, right? Like even in the dark shades, I have no problem reading this. So the legibility on this display, I keep going back to, the display is so phenomenal.
Clean.
That it so just kind of trumps all the cons.
I agree.
It makes this watch maybe worth it.
Trying to sell me off of it. I'm still right on it.
Dark, and let me hit this button here. Look at that.
Oh.
Full screen. Now you can change it
Powerful.
between 1.5 and 3 seconds. I think it's currently on 1.5.
Set on 1.5. That way it'll
I
last
wasn't
longer.
playing with this. It's a loaner watch. I'm not.
2-year battery on that.
But yeah, that
Imagine using the
display
app.
is
Getting notifications decreases that
but
a
like I
lot.
said, in most conditions, you're not even going to need that. because this thing is so legible. All right, let's get back to it. It does, of course, run on a battery. It's a quartz. It's not solar. That's one of the biggest cons that people are talking about.
Man, if it was solar, why is it not solar? That's the thing. Why isn't this G line not solar? That doesn't make sense on a way.
I do think that in the future, we will see solar variants of this watch.
Yeah, maybe even just hold off till the solar variant comes out of this watch.
I do. I don't think it'll be a long time.
But then
I
it'll be
think
more
that they're gonna
expensive,
have
I'm
to
sure.
Navigate how they put the solar rim around the bezel, you know, around the display case.
Speaking of solar, like that's what I'm looking at with this one.
Casio G-Shock GWM 56
Right there, solar. This thing does solar. It does it's solar powers. It's good for 10 years in addition.
10U,
And
the perfect square G-Shock.
it's the perfect square G-Shock.
Second thought, is this G-Shock the best everyday casual watch that you can get?
Probably.
I really think that it might be. Let me tell you about the design, go over its functions and features, and finally 610U features multi-band 6 radio time
Listen to this.
sync, meaning that your watch will automatically sync to one of 6 atomic time signals every night, which is going to keep your watch in perfect accuracy as long as you're in a location where it's available.
Perfect.
It is
And you're in USA, so boom.
available in my location, and if I have the watch facing my window, it will sync flawlessly every night at 12:03 a.m. But
Or it'll retry.
it will try a number of times throughout the night if it doesn't get it on that first sync. I love the simple black resin case. It has a classic, understated look, and the raised ridge will keep that mineral crystal protected from scratches.
And I actually like that red line too.
Being a G-Shock, this thing is tough as nails.
But the crystal is not as good as it could be. It's not sapphire crystal. I think it's something else.
It also features 20 bar or 200 meter water resistance. The face of the watch
Great for swimming.
itself gets a nice splash of design and color, however. A nice red outline surrounds the display with clear white text for function.
It's ridiculous to charge a lot for solar. It's so cheap to manufacture solar power on small gadgets nowadays.
And gold and blue accents for the
Let's take a look. Casio. Take me to the Casio site because I was there. Casio. So we want to go to all Casios. And what we could do is turn on right down here a feature. Look for solar charged and find the cheapest solar charge watch that they have. $110 for this solar charged watch for Casio solar charged. So in addition to getting solar charged, you click this standard radio reception and bam, now these things will update with that the radio frequency feature and have exact time. There's some okay ones here. Nothing that I'm in love with besides the one that I'm looking at, but let's see this. Yeah, there it is. 140 for that. That's a lot. I mean, I gotta wait for a sale. 150 for that? So you gotta wait for a sale. Wait for sale. I mean, big time sale. I mean, the other thing is like your cell phone already does this, right? So it's like, why do you need this if your cell phone already does this? That's the question, right? Angus saying it's ridiculous. This one's kind of cool. Like that nice little blue inside of the bezel. That's all right. Nothing great. But what I like about these Casios is that it's got some cool features. It's a cool tool. Very cool tool. Let's see. I mean, even Baldassare says they're good deals.
Many are quick to jump up to the luxury tier of watchmaking. However, that would be overlooking some of the most paramount watches ever created. And perhaps at the top of that list is the Casio G-Shock. And in this video, we will be looking at everything you should know before looking to buy one of these great watches, including its long history and significance, its different model collections and families, and some top picks from their catalog that are good.
That red one, sharp. Black one, sharp. Gray one's okay. Could be. Maybe I have to wear it.
choices for certain types of people, and then also why or ultimately why not go for a Casio G-Shock. So with the holiday season here, I did want to let you guys know about get any person bunking some of the dive watch just jargon and more abbreviated history, having been conceptualized in the early 1980s. The legend goes that now legendary Casio engineer and then head of design Kakuo Ibe suffered the heartbreak of dropping a pocket watch gifted to him by his father, galvanizing his passionate pursuit of creating a more durable wristwatch for the masses. In 1980,
So it started with him dropping his family's precious pocket watch and it broke. And he thought, I should design a better watch that if we drop it, it won't break, but it could still be good.
EB created a set of parameters he called triple 10 resistance, meaning the new watch had to be able to withstand a fall from 10 meters of height, be water resistant to 10 atmospheres or 100 meters, and have a battery life of 10 years. The endeavor proved more challenging than imagined after many iterations of the original.
The triple 10 challenge, guys. You hear that? That's nuts.
Triple 10 resistance, meaning the new watch had to be able to withstand a fall from 10 meters of height,
10 meters of height, fall.
water resistant to 10 atmospheres or
10 atmospheres,
100 meters, and
100 meters of resistance in the water,
have a battery life of 10 years.
and 10 years of battery. I mean, it's awesome. And now, and some of these have solar rechargeability.
Endeavor proved more challenging than imagined after many iterations of the original design, but that was until EB had a breakthrough when he noticed a child bouncing a rubber ball at a playground and reasoned that the inside of the ball was all but isolated from the shock being experienced by the more flexible outer surface. With the rubber ball as inspiration, EB's Team Tough design team implemented a novel construction where the more fragile stainless steel timekeeping module was set deep within a durable resin outer shroud, specifically designed to absorb shocks before they could impact the
G-Shock
module within. A not insignificant 200 prototypes, and 2 years later, the original DW5000C was released in 1983.
Look at that. It looks so similar to what I'm looking at right now in 2023.
Creating a basic visual functional formula that is still the core of the G-Shock's brand identity. While the new watch was by any means an incredible technological leap forward, the G-Shock was not an instant success. Though thoughtful Casio marketing showing the watch's capabilities against a series of hockey pucks led to the following among police, military, fire, and other professionals working in
Doctors, nurses, ER, they love their G-Shocks.
taxing conditions. Somewhat surprisingly, the West Coast hip hop and skateboard scene also quickly caught on to this watch, and the G-Shock was off to the races, balancing its police, fire, and military demographic with an ever-growing pop cultural following. With G-Shock catching on to the broader scale of consumers around the world, only being rivaled by names of Rolex when it comes to just being known, the
So G-Shock and Rolex, two most known watches.
G-Shock has now grown to be an icon of durability and affordability over the course of its 39 years on the market, with
And it's so much more affordable than a Rolex.
thousands of different variants and model families having been released over the years. Rather than resting on their laurels, G-Shock has also continued to innovate technologically, staying true to its form and in its lane while adding functionality including Bluetooth connectivity, tough solar charging, and radio atomic timekeeping for many of its higher priced models. G-Shock has also experimented with stainless steel cases and bracelets, elevating what has always been a more affordable looking visual design concept to a new market position while also more directly challenging traditional mechanical analog watches.
So they're freaking cool. They're pretty darn cool. But I think that's going to end our watch portion of the show. And we're going to move on